For both Universal Orlando and Walt Disney World, there are so many hotels to choose from. Not to mention, you even have to think about off-site versus on-site. In this video, we'll go over key considerations that dictated where we ended up staying for our October 2023 trip down to Orlando. And importantly, for those of you who are curious about Disney Vacation Club, we will do a live look-in to my 11-month booking window and my 7-month booking window. Plus, of course, 7-month booking window never goes exactly perfectly, so I also was on the waitlist and we'll check in with those results too. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate that you're here. If you're new to the Pixie Dust PhD channel, hey, I'm Jacqueline. I'd really love it if you subscribe to the channel. It's totally free for you and helps me out a lot. After you're subscribed, please ring the bell icon to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. And thanks to everyone who's liked the video, commented down below, and shared with friends. In the video posted just prior to this, we went over the key considerations for the overall trip timing. Plus, I showed you a basic trip sketch and the theme park tickets that we ended up buying and how much those cost. This video is going to focus on our hotel accommodations. If you watched that last video, you know that our trip sketch has evolved a lot over time and is continuing to evolve. Hotels also kind of have to morph with that as your plans change. For Universal, for a long time, we were juggling two options. And by juggling, I mean I did literally have refundable hotel reservations booked for these different trip sketches. The first option would be that we would fly down Monday night after work and stay somewhere nearby off-site. Then for Tuesday night, we would be on-site at a premier level hotel at Universal. The second option, which would be a longer trip, would have us arriving on Saturday and staying off-site through Monday night, checking out Tuesday morning. Then similarly, we would move over to the on-site premier level hotel at Universal. We ended up going with the second version. We'll be at the Universal theme park for a bunch of days, but we will primarily be staying off-site. We will only be on-site at a Universal hotel for one night. And really the primary goal of that one night on property at Universal is to get the unlimited express pass included with our hotel rate. Then for hotels for Disney, there's kind of less for us to consider overall because we are Disney Vacation Club members. So we have the DVC points to spend, we will be using those, we didn't really even entertain staying off-site. And yes, there are a lot of on-site hotels both at Disney and Universal, but not compared to the number of off-site hotels. Sometimes that feels like the Wild Wild West. For us, we do always narrow down our off-site hotel choices to only Hilton branded hotels. We do pay a hefty yearly fee to have the Hilton Honors Aspire American Express credit card. This is the highest tier credit card that Hilton has. It comes with a lot of perks, especially if you want to travel to theme parks in Orlando. I covered this in a prior video. I will leave a link to that video in the description below. That being said, at least we were only considering Hiltons. There's a DoubleTree at the entrance to Universal that we have stayed at a few times before and really like it. Also, if you book that far in advance, the rates are usually pretty reasonable. That's one we definitely considered, and I had booked a refundable rate at one point. But our Hilton American Express does come with a $250 credit for a resort. Now, most Hilton hotels are not resorts, but weirdly, a lot of the ones down in the Orlando area are. And you can apply the $250 resort credit to your room rate. It doesn't only have to be for extras like food, beverage, massages, etc. So automatically saving $250 off the room rate is very appealing. The DoubleTree across the street from Universal does not qualify as a resort, so would not get this $250 rebate. We did also briefly entertain moving hotels during this time. Maybe that was an offsite to an offsite, for example, an offsite Hilton resort where we could use our $250 credit, and then to the DoubleTree where we would be very close to the parks. Or maybe that was an offsite to an onsite. We've only ever stayed on-site at Universal once before, and they have a lot of resorts I'd like to check out. But as we were making our plan and booking hotels, we thought we would be working from home Monday, so we really wanted a room to be in all day Monday to work from home, to have a stable base for working from home. Now, most likely we won't end up working from home on Monday. This doesn't matter as much anymore, but it is what it is. On our last long trip down to Orlando in September 2021, we did a bunch of hotel changes, and it was more tiring than I would probably care to admit. So honestly, even without working from home, just having the stability of not having to pack up and move and check out and check in and all that is probably worth it just for our sanity. For offsite hotels, we usually narrow it down to a list of a handful of hotels, and then I literally just track prices. I don't necessarily do it every day, but it is one of those small 10-minute chores where if I'm bored or want to break from whatever task I'm doing, maybe I just go look up the prices for the hotel and log it in our Google Sheet. And eventually, Mouse Savers ended up having a screaming deal at a Hilton near SeaWorld. We'll be staying for 3 nights, checking in on October 14th and checking out on October 17th at the Hilton Grand Vacations Club SeaWorld. We're staying in a 1 king bedroom suite, which is over 800 square feet. So when we were thinking about working from home on Monday, it was important that we could spread out. I also believe they have in-room laundry, so we may end up doing a small load. Through the Mouse Savers promotion, the total cost for this was about $520 for 3 nights in an 800 square foot room. And we get to apply that $250 resort credit perk that we get from our credit card to this room rate. So all in, we will be paying under $270 to stay for 3 nights at a hotel. I really couldn't find anything that beat this. I know some of the on-site Universal hotels are super affordable, but $270 for 3 nights in an 800 square foot room, free parking, all that jazz, like, I'm stoked. Then the primary objective for staying on-site at Universal is to get that Express Pass. The Express Pass perk only comes at the highest tier of their hotels, the Premier level. And there's only 3 of these. It's Loews Royal Pacific, the Hard Rock, or Portofino Bay. I am not a universal expert, but generally speaking, every time I'm looking at their on-site hotels, Royal Pacific is the cheapest of the Premier level. So naturally, we went with that one. There will be 3 adults splitting this room for one night. After taxes and fees and everything, the room rate was about $630. We are going to split this cost 3 ways. My partner and I will pay 2 of those ways, so we'll end up paying about $420 plus parking. The overall cost of the hotels for the universal portion of our stay, at least the part that my partner and I are paying, is just under $700. That's for 4 nights total. Now, certainly that's not a great deal by any means, but of course, us staying on property at Royal Pacific is driving that cost up quite a lot. But we all decided we wanted to splurge, and I think it'll be worth it. Now for hotels at Disney, we were only targeting Disney Vacation Club properties. From our Bay Lake Tower contract, we had 15 points left over from the 2022 use year that we could bank into 2023 for use. Then we had all 90 points from 2023 and all 90 points from 2024 to play with. That meant overall we had 195 points. Because it's just my partner and I traveling, we do primarily target studios. That being said though, in very early drafts of sketching this trip out, because we had 195 points, I did look at a couple iterations with maybe 2 nights in 1 bedroom, but we ended up sticking to just studios. Very early on in imagining our DVC stays, and by very early I mean like summer of 2022, we were using mock dates. If your travel dates are going to cross travel periods in the points charts, it will be really important for you to pay attention to that. Additionally, weeknights cost fewer points than weekend nights, so depending on your exact timing, your points cost may shift up and down a few points. But even with just mock dates on hand and not finalized trip dates, I find sketching out my DVC stay to be very helpful in envisioning what it is exactly we can afford. I basically just make a spreadsheet of options and play around with various configurations and figure out what that total points cost would be. In doing so, it is pretty easy to come up with like 20 plus iterations though. So you and your travel party do need to decide on some preferences. For us, our 3 key factors were that we wanted to end at Bay Lake Tower, we like staying in the Crescent Lake area, so beach club or boardwalk if we can, and we wanted to try the Poly out this time. And I do have a brief side note, but I promise that it is relevant. We're checking out of Loews Royal Pacific at Universal on October 18th. In the following information about our DVC deliberations, you will see that we assumed we would start on October 19th. That means we have the night of October 18th to fill. We assumed we would just fill that with a cheap offsite option. For a trip in October 2023, our booking window for our home resort opened up in November of 2022. Here was the overall plan of attack. The first 4 nights we wanted to stay in a standard view studio at the Polynesian. Then ideally we were targeting 2 nights in a studio at the beach club and ending our trip with 3 nights at Bay Lake Tower in a Lakeview studio. If we were able to secure exactly these accommodations, that would cost 191 points overall. Remember, we had 195 points to play with. However, at 11 months in advance, obviously we cannot book the Polynesian or beach club, we can only book Bay Lake Tower. Therefore, for those first 2 legs of the trip, where in theory we would stay at the Poly and the beach club, we were going to go ahead and at 11 months book something at Bay Lake Tower, mainly a standard view studio. For the Poly, this worked out great because the standard view studio at Bay Lake Tower cost fewer points per night than the Poly. So we definitely didn't have to worry about points allocation there. However, the beach club studio we were targeting actually cost 1 fewer point per night than the Bay Lake Tower standard view studio. In theory, if we were borrowing points from 2024 into 2023 to book that Bay Lake Tower standard view studio as a placeholder for the beach club, those points can't go back into 2024. So if we were able to swap this 2-night Bay Lake Tower stay out for a beach club, we would lose those 2 points. Ultimately, my partner and I decided that was worth it. This honestly probably is not necessary for a vast majority of times of the year, including when we were traveling. Most of the time at 7 months, you will be able to snag something like Old Key West or Saratoga Springs, even if that's not necessarily where you want to stay. Then you can go on the waitlist to replace that reservation with a more expensive resort. Generally speaking, it's probably ill-advised to be using a more expensive resort and wanting to replace it with a less expensive resort, especially if you are borrowing points. But like I said, that was something that my partner and I felt was fine for us, especially since it would only be 2 points wasted. Overall, I fully admit we probably did not need to book these 2 nights at the 11-month window, but I just feel so much better knowing that if nothing comes through, at least we could stay at Bay Lake Tower. At 11 months in advance, we would make 2 dummy bookings at Bay Lake Tower, basically just holding a room for us. And then hopefully we would be able to swap those out for stays at the Polynesian and the beach club. But then also at 11 months, we would make a booking for a Lakeview studio that we fully intended on keeping. I'm gonna pass you over to Pat Jacqueline 11 months ago, just shy of 8 a.m., looking to make these bookings.
Morning. It's a little bit before 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, November 19th. Today is 11 months before the start of the first leg of our fall 2023 Walt Disney World trip. At this 11-month mark, I'm planning to book a Bay Lake Tower Standard View studio this morning. We'll hopefully replace that at the 7-month mark with something a little more different or exciting, but I like to get stuff down at the 11-month mark to make sure, at the very least, we're using our points and we have a place to stay. If I look particularly tired, that's because today also happened to be our advanced dining reservation day for our January 2023 trip, so I was up at 5:30 and change this morning to try to snag ADRs. And I've kind of just been lounging around waiting for 8 a.m. to come around since 6 a.m. to do the DVC portion. But anyway, I'm logged into the Disney Vacation Club website. Did have to do that 2-factor authentication for the first time. And yeah, ready to book. We're planning to fly down on Wednesday, October 18th, but we'll stay at a Hilton there and use our American Express resort credit to cover that. And then we'll move to Disney Vacation Club. In theory, the first leg will be the nights of October 19th through the night of October 22nd. So we'll check out Monday, October 23rd. 11 months in advance, I'm really not expecting to run into any issues, but the standard view rooms do tend to go a little faster sometimes because they are the cheapest option. And in this case, I'm purposefully trying to book the standard view rooms. That way I can swap them out for other Disney Vacation Club resorts, and hopefully it's either like an even points exchange or, the Bay Lake Tower reservation costs less than where we book next. Basically, I'm trying not to lose any points here. So we'll only be looking at Deluxe Studios, standard view at Bay Lake Tower. I have no reason to look at anything else at 11 months out. So I proceeded through and we're now looking at availability, which you can do before 8 a.m. Here you can see that Wednesday, October 18th is already taken for the Standard View Deluxe Studios. So this is why I'm doing it kind of right on the dot at 8 a.m., 11 months out. Now, even though you can get to this page, if you try to click continue and book it before 8 a.m., you're going to get this error. So you do have to be a little bit patient, but you can be ready up through this stage to the best of my knowledge. All right, I'm just keeping an eye on the clock on my phone, and once it hits 8 o'clock, I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Had to close and refresh results, but we should only be about 10 seconds behind here. Go, go, go. Yay! Okay, now you have to pick what vacation points you want it to come from. I worked this out earlier, so I didn't have to think about it. I have a cheat sheet of notes here. We're going to book this with our 2023 points. Okay, you have to fill in the guests. In this page, it's not telling me what year the points are coming from, but I didn't borrow anything and I didn't bank anything. So I assume it's 2023, but we can also check when we're done. Okay, yeah. So here it says use year 2023. So great. That's exactly what I wanted. I also go to view points summary from here. Okay, and then we can go to the dashboard. And yep, I haven't banked these yet. I'll use those soon though. The remaining points from 2023 and we haven't borrowed anything from 2024 yet. So that worked out perfectly. Easy peasy.
I hope that live look-in was helpful. I did also record for our other 2 booking days at 11 months in advance. Unfortunately, those screen recordings failed, so it's me talking you through what I'm doing, but I couldn't show you because I don't have those screen recordings, so I decided not to keep any of it in. But those 2 other booking days were very similar to this booking day. It really is smooth sailing 11 months in advance. One thing I did want to go over though was the points allocation for leg 2 of our booking. Because the screen recording failed, I can't show you this in action, but here's what it ended up being, and I did plan it this way in advance. For this 2-night stay that we were hoping to replace with Beach Club, we did bank in our 15 points from 2022. Then we used the remaining 12 points from 2023 and borrowed 9 points from 2024. So just this 2-night stay ended up being a smattering of points from all 3 of these use years. Then for the 3rd leg of our DVC stay, which was 3 nights at the Lakeview Studio at Bay Lake Tower, that was all borrowed 2024 points. By this time, we had exhausted all of the 2022 and 2023 points. I'll also just note that my booking day ended up being the day after American Thanksgiving, so I didn't really feel like waking up prior to 8 a.m. I didn't book this room until about 9 a.m. Eastern, and honestly, availability was totally fine. So here's the overall breakdown and points summary of what I had spent at 11 months. 4 nights in the Standard View Bay Lake Tower Studio, hopefully getting replaced by the Poly, cost 78 points. I used all 78 of those from the current 2023 use year. Then, like we just went over, that second leg was a mix of points from 2022, 2023, and 2024, and our final leg, staying at Bay Lake Tower in that Lakeview Studio, is all 2024 points. Now on to the more stressful part with Disney Vacation Club, the 7-month booking window. We are sticking with that Lakeview Studio at Bay Lake Tower to end our trip, so there are the 2 other segments we're hoping to swap. For October 19th through 22nd, we have a Bay Lake Tower Standard View Studio booked, but we want to swap that out for a Polynesian Standard View Studio. For the overall entire trip, I had used 177 out of the 195 points available. And this specific leg that we booked at Bay Lake Tower cost 78 points, but for the Poly, it would cost 94 points. For my Bay Lake Tower contract, I had 18 points remaining in my 2024 use year. This swap between the Bay Lake Tower Standard Studio and the Poly Standard Studio would cost an additional 16 points. For that second leg, October 23rd and 24th, we had booked a Standard View Studio at Bay Lake Tower, and we're hoping to swap it out for a studio at the Beach Club. More realistically, though, we would probably end up at the boardwalk. That's totally fine with us. We'd already spent 36 points with our Bay Lake Tower booking. A beach club studio would only cost 34 points. A boardwalk preferred view, though, so garden view or pool view, would cost an even 36 points. This swap is very straightforward. If we were able to get the beach club, then we would get 2 points back. Those would go into the 2023 use year, though, and we really have no use for those, so they'd kind of go into the garbage, but that was a risk we were willing to take. If instead we got a preferred view boardwalk room, that would be an even swap. I'll toss it over to Past Jacqueline to take you through 7 months trying to get the Polynesian.
Good morning. It is prior to 8 a.m. on Sunday, March 19th, so this is now 7 months before the first leg of our Disney Vacation Club stay. I briefly checked availability last night just to maybe have an idea what I'm getting myself into. The deluxe studios at the Polynesian looked good, both the standard view and the lake view were available. And then for the next leg of the stay, ideally we would move to beach club or boardwalk. We both understand that's a long shot, but I did check availability for that last night as well. It's not looking good. As of recording, we still really don't have timeshare information for the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, that Disney Vacation Club tower over in Disneyland. We're probably going to buy into that, so we will have, I assume, more points to work with if we want to move up to a 1-bedroom. So I also looked at a 1-bedroom for beach club and boardwalk. It's not as bad as the studios, but I'm still not counting on it. But we'll see. I mean, I assume it'll be fine to move over to Kidani Village if we want. Jumbo House would probably be harder. The way availability has been going lately, maybe there would be availability at Copper Creek or Boulder Ridge. It would be neat to stay in a newly refurbished room at Boulder Ridge. And for the most part, at least the resort studios at Grand Floridian have been okay. So yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, we just do that middle chunk still in Bay Lake Tower. That's not a big deal at all. But also, if when we have more points to play with, then we could probably move up to a 1-bedroom and give us some more flexibility. It is 7:51 a.m. now, so I'm just checking again, and we look like we'll be okay for the standard view at the Polynesian, I hope, if I can have the fastest fingers. It does seem, though, that since last night, the lake view got taken up just for this one day, October 19th, so exactly 7 months from now. If you waitlisted this, maybe it would be fine. It kind of feels that way, but hopefully the standard view will work out. That's what we had done the math to use our points for anyway, so this is what we're going for. And then briefly, just looking at some other types, here we have Kidani Village, standard deluxe studio. We would be doing, I think, the 23rd and 24th, but yeah, that's super open. The Savannah view is very open. I don't know if we would spend the points to do a 1-bedroom here, but if we wanted to, we definitely could, standard or Savannah view. Here's Boulder Ridge. Oh, the deluxe studio right now at 7 months is open. Same with these nights, 23rd and 24th. Think about that. And then the 1-bedroom is even better availability. Jumbo House, the standard view 1-bedroom is very available, but the other rooms aren't. So let's take a look here. The value accommodations, not as bad as I thought it'd be. Like, you're into homeowner resort priority for sure. But this is not terrible at all. I mean, even this week prior to Christmas is fully available for the 1-bedroom value. Here's the standard deluxe studio. Getting a little unlucky with the nights we want, the 19th and 20th, but otherwise that's not too bad. The Savannah View studio, yeah, same deal, just a little unlucky right when we're looking, but availability's not terrible. Here's a 1-bedroom with a Savannah View. And then, I mean, club level, I'm not expecting to see anything. Oh, there's a couple nights. The value studio, fully taken. No surprises there. And the club studio, I expect also is fully taken. Yep. Okay, then we have the Polynesian, which we already looked at. Here's Copper Creek. So the 1-bedroom is very available. What does the studio look like? It's not great, it's not terrible. Here's a studio with a shower, a little worse. And then here we have Boardwalk, Standard View Studio. This is usually taken because it's so cheap. Yeah, that's rough. Boardwalk View Studio, often taken. Pretty bad. Garden or Pool View, sometimes this is where you can get lucky. But yeah, even this is quite booked. Some of this may also be because anticipated refurbishment. So for a while they were holding back reservations, so I'm not sure if they are letting people reserve the full lot of rooms. I do think we are expecting refurbs to happen at Boardwalk in the fall. Here's the 1-bedroom. So yeah, there's this one night of when we might stay. That was standard view, I think. This is the boardwalk view, 1 bedroom, and the Gardner Pool view, 1 bedroom. Again, the one night when we might stay, but not that Monday night. So yeah, chances boardwalk seem slim. And then beach club, waitlist only. Yeah, nothing for the deluxe studio. Not when we're traveling, couple days otherwise. And yeah, the 1 bedroom villa doesn't look promising either. But alright, with the magic of editing, we'll fast forward a few minutes and then get to the booking right at 8 a.m. Alright, we have no points in 2022, 2023, 18 left in 2024. Got a little bit of time to go, so we're going to modify this reservation. You know, here's the room we had booked, the standard view at Bay Lake Tower. We're going to modify that. Website is being slow. Okay, same deal in terms of travel dates. And we want to look at the Poly. And I'm going to click check availability once it turns over to 8. Right now. Go, go, go. Continue. Should be 16 more points, I think, which we will borrow from our contract. Yeah, looks like you still need 16 points. Borrow from the 2024 use year. We'll borrow 16. You're all set. Continue. Okay, information about the 2 people staying. Okay, review your modifications. This will cost 94 points. These are the days. We're using points from that prior booking at Bay Lake Tower and then borrowing some additional points. If you complete this modification, it will update your current reservation. This modification required more points. Vacation points will be taken based on your contract selection. I only have 1 contract to pick from. Okay, I agree. Book. Hooray! Congratulations, your modifications are confirmed. Nice. So we used some 2023 points, mostly 2023 points, and some 2024 points. I have 2 points remaining left in 2024. That's how we planned it, though. Okay, let's go to the dashboard. This has been taking forever to load lately, too. Alright, and you can see this is now 2 instead of before it was 18. We used 16 of those points for the Poly. So now, yeah, Disney's, Polynesian Villas, and Bungalows. Hooray. Standard View Deluxe Studio. Perfect. So yeah, then in a few days, we'll figure out what's happening with this middle chunk of our stay. Right now, we've got a Bay Lake Tower reservation just in case. Like I said, ideally, that becomes Beach Club or Boardwalk. I'll probably just waitlist those first thing. And then, you know, when we get more points to play with from a Disneyland, Disney Vacation Club purchase, we'll think about what to do then. But today was a really good morning for us. We're going to stay for a bunch of days in the Poly. I am so stoked.
And now we'll go to past Jacqueline at 7 months, trying to get Beach Club or a Boardwalk. Good luck.
Hey everyone, it's about 7:50 a.m. Eastern Time on the morning of Thursday, March 23rd. This is 7 months before the second leg of our trip. You probably just saw what happened with the first leg. We were able to replace a Bay Lake Tower booking with a Poly booking. And then the third leg of our trip, we booked at Bay Lake Tower, and we will be keeping that, so the second leg is all that's left. Ideally, we could stay at Boardwalk or Beach Club. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen this morning, but I am basically up and ready to go to be on the waitlist. If you want more information about the waitlist, I made a video covering that specific topic previously on the channel. I will leave a link to that down in the description below. But basically, it is a literal line, so the earlier you are in line, that means the less people are ahead of you in line, so if things free up, it's advantageous to be earlier in line. It's definitely not the end of the world, but, you know, since it's only 8 a.m. my time, it's not super early, super inconvenient, I figure may as well. Knowing Boardwalk and Beach Club would not be available this morning, my partner and I to discuss other things we could potentially book depending on availability. Copper Creek, Boulder Ridge could be cool. And then as of last night, at least the Savannah View at Jambo House is open, which would be neat. We've stayed in the Kidani side, but not Jambo before. But for now, the plan is just to hold on to our Bay Lake Tower reservation and put ourselves on the wait list and see what happens. Sometime between now and when we go on vacation, we're anticipating buying into that Disneyland DVC tower, so getting more points, I assume. And then, you know, if we want to switch up our resort, we would have more points to play with, like a 1-bedroom, for example. Let's take a quick look at availability this morning. Just the Lakeview Deluxe Studio at Bay Lake Tower is available this morning. That means Theme Park View and Standard View are taken. All the 1-bedrooms are open, though. Grand Floridian's been pretty available these days. And yeah, you can see the Resort Studio and the Deluxe Studio standard view, both with the lake view, and the theme park Resort Studio view is still open, as well as standard and lake view 1-bedroom villa. Here's Jumbo House, so standard view Deluxe Studio, Savannah view Deluxe Studio. Wow, the 1-bedroom value is technically available. We still have a few minutes for homeowners to snatch that up, but this day, actually 21 and 22 are within 7 months right now, so that's cool. I don't quite have the points to do that right now, but that'd be cool. And then standard and Savannah view 1-bedroom. Saratoga Springs is going to be available. Yep. Kidani Village should be available. Yep. Old Key West should be available. Oh, even the ones near the Hospitality House are available. That's nice. Copper Creek, both versions of the Deluxe Studio and the 1-bedroom are available. At the Poly, you've got both versions of the Deluxe Studio available. Boulder Ridge has the Deluxe Studio and the 1-bedroom available. And then we get to Boardwalk and Beach Club, where you are waitlist only for studios and 1-bedrooms. I didn't do the search for 2-bedrooms or grand villas just not to clog it up. Let's look at how bad this is. So this is the Beach Club Deluxe Studio. Not great. The Beach Club 1-bedroom. Not as bad as the studio. Still not great. And then moving up, we're back at Boardwalk. Standard view Deluxe Studio. Oh, the page aired out. I hate when this happens. Okay, we've reloaded availability, so this is technically different than the prior load, but, you know, it's still going to be unavailable. So the Standard View Deluxe Studio Boardwalk, super booked. Let's see. Wow, yeah, literally the whole way through 11 months is booked out. The Boardwalk view, yeah, similarly super booked. Right in the 11-month range is okay, but other than that, no. Garden or Pool view, which I believe should be the most amount of inventory. Yeah, there's a couple days in December, and then but out till February again. 1-bedroom standard view. Definitely not as bad as the studios. Other than the back half of December, though, quite patchy. I mean, look at February's already gone. 1-bedroom Boardwalk view. Similar story. January's not as bad as the standard, and February is still available at least. And then the Garden or Pool view. Oh, much better. Definitely still for home resort contract owners, though. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait a few minutes. We'll put ourselves on the wait list for Boardwalk and then for Beach Club. It always feels like when you want to be using the website efficiently, so around 8 a.m., around booking time, things just don't want to load. Very frustrating. Okay, here we go. So this is the leg we are trying to replace. Right now we're at Bay Lake Tower, October 23rd through 25th. I'm gonna go ahead and hit view or modify. And then we don't need to modify the guests, we just want to modify the fact that I'd rather not stay at the Deluxe Studio at Bay Lake Tower. If this is what we end up with though, no complaints. Yeah, we're trying to replace this with Beach Club or Boardwalk, so to the wait list. So you click modify and then it comes to the booking page, but it'll say modify your search, which is nice, and then your reservation information's at the top. If you scroll down, the same date should already be selected, so that's nice and easy. And then just pick what you want to modify it to. So for me, for ease, I'm only going to select Beach Club and Boardwalk, and only a Deluxe Studio. And then right as the clock turns to 8 a.m., I'm going to click check availability. I'm expecting there to be a delay because the website is very slow. Okay, 8 o'clock. So we're going to waitlist the Garden or Pool View Deluxe Studio because I think that has the highest chance of coming through. I have no proof. And then so you can choose how long you want to stay on the wait list. 7 days is fine for me. And if you want to replace an existing booking, which I do. This would cost, I believe, 2 more points than what we used to book the Bay Lake Tower Studio, so I'm going to go ahead and authorize them to borrow points. I do have 2 points left, so we did that math perfectly. Then, like any reservation, you have to tell them who your travel party is, even though you already filled that out. If you booked the 11 months and you're modifying like I am, gotta do it again. Your information should be filled out, but anyone else that's traveling with you, you should fill out. All right, once you've added the guest, you'll get to this Your Waitlist Request page. Confirm the resort as well as the room type and the total points, your check-in, check-out date, and then your waitlist details. Here's some fine print about multi-night stays and multiple waitlist requests. So if you have a multi-night stay, you're not supposed to split those up as individual nights. And for multiple waitlist requests for the same accommodation and travel dates, those will search and match separately, so there's no guarantee you'll be able to confirm both. You have to agree to terms and conditions, submit waitlist request. Great, your waitlist request is created. We're gonna go back to our dashboard. We'll see if it loads. So now you can see this waitlist has appeared. Great. And then we can have two waitlists, so we're gonna do this whole thing again. View or modify that middle Bay Lake Tower stay. And now we're just going to go to Beach Club. No rooms are available. Continue to waitlist. Okay, Beach Club, these are my nights, 34 vacation points. So this would be an even swap with the Bay Lake Tower reservation we already have. I'm fine with 7 days. We're going to replace that middle booking. Shouldn't need to borrow, but sure. Travel party. Your waitlist request, so confirm the details here. Looks good. Again, fine print, agree to terms and conditions, and submit. Great, your waitlist request is created. And back at my dashboard, you can now see all 3 of these listed for the middle leg. You have the actual booked reservation at Bay Lake Tower, the waitlist for Beach Club, and the waitlist for Boardwalk. The waitlist does work, but it also does include some manual operations from those cast members. So also as I'm bored throughout the days, I'll just manually do checks to see if there's availability. With Beach Club and Boardwalk, I'm not expecting that per se, but you never know. So it doesn't hurt to be doing manual checks on your own as well as put yourself on the waitlist. All right, let's hope these come through and I can talk to you about that later.
Later.
Hello. I assume me at some other point in time described the waitlist details to you, so I'm gonna skip a lot of that information and just talk about results, which excitingly have happened. I'm recording this a few days after actually we got the waitlist notification. It came through while I was on vacation in Italy, so I really wasn't in a good spot to record the video. Anyway, our booking day was March 23rd, and then the waitlist came through on April 7th. So inclusive of March 23rd, that was the day that I joined the waitlist. It took 16 total days to come off the waitlist. And like I said, I was on vacation, so I just happened to open my email and I saw your trip cancellation from BBC, and I was like, oh, that means the waitlist is happening. And funnily, there was like a 17-minute delay. So I think 5:21 p.m. Italy time, I got the notification that my Bay Lake Tower trip had been canceled, which obviously I didn't cancel it. My partner was with me, didn't cancel it, so we knew it must be the waitlist. And then it took until 5:38 p.m. Italy time again for the new reservation to come through. But happily we got the Boardwalk Villas Garden or Pool View Studio. This was a clean swap points-wise between the Bay Lake Tower Standard View Studio, so no extra points taken, which means we still have 2 points left in our next use year. I'll probably end up banking those into the next use year because what am I gonna do with 2 points? But anyway, yeah, it only took 16 days for the waitlist to come through. I'm not totally sure what I was expecting. I don't think I expected it to happen quite that fast though.
Hooray! By April, we were pretty set. We had a standard view studio at the Polynesian, a garden or pool view studio at the Boardwalk, and a lake view studio at Bay Lake Tower all booked. In May, we bought into villas at Disneyland Hotel. That meant that we had a ton of other points to play around with. So you may recall from earlier in this video, I noted that there was the night of October 18th that was unaccounted for. Now, instead of paying cash to stay off-site somewhere, we could instead use some villas at Disneyland Hotel points to stay on-site on DVC property for that night of October 18th. This was only about 5.5 months in advance of our check-in, so obviously not everything was available. Even at 7 months, not everything is available. I was though very easily to book a room at the Animal Kingdom Villas, and we would have been happy staying there for a night. But I did also waitlist us for the Poly because then we could just check into the Poly and stay there for a while. Luckily, that waitlist did come through. I called member services and asked if it was possible for them to combine these into one reservation so we wouldn't have to change rooms or check in, check out, anything like that. And they were able to do that, so now that is one seamless stay at the Poly. Overall, here's the final slate of hotels for us. October 14th through 16th, we are staying at the Hilton Grand Vacation Club SeaWorld Orlando. Then for just a single night, the night of October 17th, we will be staying on-site at Universal at Loews Royal Pacific. Next, we have a good chunk of time at a Polynesian Standard Studio, that is October 18th through 22nd. The nights of October 23rd and 24th will be in a garden or pool view studio at the Boardwalk, and then we're finishing out our vacation with a lake view studio at Bay Lake Tower. I hope getting a peek into my planning process has been helpful or interesting to you. This is obviously nice and polished for a YouTube video, but if you want to see some of the more chaotic, like early planning Disney Vacation Club stuff, I have all those spreadsheets and we can walk through them if you want. Leave a comment down below. Though honestly, it might be ill-advised to all of you to want to come see the chaos of my brain. I think this is a great slate of hotels, and I'm excited to experience these places. For me, this is also a good compromise of definitely this is a split stay. We're experiencing a lot of different properties, but we're not doing a bunch of single nights back to back. Lowe's Royal Pacific is only 1 night, and the Boardwalk is only 2 nights. But importantly, those aren't back to back to each other, and generally speaking, otherwise we will get to really settle in, unpack, and get comfy. I can't wait for the trip, and I really can't wait to share it with you when I get back. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.